Gotta lean really far down. How's it going, YouTube? This is Skull, and this, what you see in front of you, is my Disney animation collection. I have at least one copy of every single film in the Disney animation canon, and as you can see, in many cases, I have more than one. And with the release of the brand new Hexed trailer, which is their next film coming out this year, I decided now's a good time to make a video showing off all of my copies of every single Disney animation film. I'm sure this is going to be a long video, but I'm excited to share this with all of you guys, so go grab some popcorn, sit back, relax, and give me a minute while I spin this table around so I can sit down and show everything to you guys properly. Let's do this. Okay, I'm all set up and ready to go. I have all of my movies here in front of me, ready to grab and show off properly to the camera. And I actually have another camera right over here that I will be using to properly show off the covers and stuff because, as you can see, you guys are a little far away to properly see all of these things here. So, yeah, I'm ready to go. Let's go ahead and get into it. So I'll be showing these movies off in chronological order from the earliest release to the most recent release. And of course, you gotta start with the one that started it all, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So, I wish that I could do it in, the oldest format to the newest format, but unfortunately, the oldest format that I have is, well, you'll understand when I get there. So let's go ahead and start off. We've got the 4K Steelbook that was released as part of the Disney 100 releases in 2023. So this is my copy of Snow White on 4K. Then we have the, I still don't know what exactly to call these, the gold holiday-themed slipcover editions from Walmart that released in 2016, in holiday 2016. So this is the Blu-ray version of that, and it's just a slipcover version. The actual movie underneath is just a standard release, so it's just a slipcover variant. Next up, we've got the Platinum Edition DVD. This was the very first Platinum Edition DVD ever, so yeah, big, thick release. It comes with 2 full discs of content here, 1 disc of the film, 1 disc of 3 hours worth of bonus features. This is my actual DVD that my family bought when this released all the way back, and I'd like to say 2001, 2002, somewhere around there. So this has been in my possession for, a quarter of a century now. And I also have the Platinum Edition VHS. And this one is actually still sealed. I bought it sealed, used from somewhere, and I just haven't seen a need to open it up yet. But the very first VHS, Disney held off on releasing this on VHS for a long time, and then they released it as the first release of the Masterpiece Collection. So here we go. Yeah, this is awesome. So yeah, let me go ahead and, I wish I had more room to work with here. But this is why you will see why I can't show them off in earliest format to newest, because I also have the Laserdisc, and this was the copy of the film that I owned growing up. So if you don't know what a Laserdisc is, it looks sort of like a giant DVD. So it's the size of a record, but it looks like a DVD. It's not a DVD though, it's an analog format, not a digital format like DVD is. I'm not here to get into the specifics of it, but what you need to know is that I have a lot of Disney Laserdiscs, and a lot of these Laserdiscs are the ones that I had growing up. So yeah, and Snow White was one of them. Before I continue, I want to give you guys some statistics. So, of all of these films, I own 42 in the highest possible quality. 25 I own on 4K Blu-ray, 17 I own on regular Blu-ray that have yet to get a 4K release. Actually, 18. There is one honorable mention, and I'll show that off when we get to that point. You'll understand then. 11 films, the highest quality that I own is on VHS, 3 films are on Laserdisc, and 8 films are on DVD. Those are all films that I eventually will upgrade to Blu-ray or ideally 4K. The reason I haven't upgraded them to Blu-ray yet is because I'm afraid that if I do, then Disney will just announce a 4K restoration a week or two afterwards. So I'm holding off on them, but eventually I do hope to own every single Disney animation film in the highest quality possible. In the case of Snow White, obviously the highest quality I own it is the 4K. You can't get better than that. Boy, we're so many minutes deep into this video and I'm just now getting to the second film. Don't worry, it'll go a lot faster from here on out, I promise. But next up is Pinocchio. So I own 2 VHS tapes, and I'll go ahead and show off the oldest one first. This is the original one. Well, actually not the original one. This is the one that's part of the Masterpiece Collection. This is the tape that I owned growing up. I put a lot of time watching this tape. But then I also have another VHS tape that was released for the film's 60th anniversary, which sounds like it was, wow, 60 years after 1940. This means this was released in 2000. Well, that was 25 years ago. Man, hard to believe these films are so old now. And, when they're properly restored, they look amazing. And it should probably come as no surprise to you guys that I do own Pinocchio on Laserdisc as well. Another one that I owned growing up, and I think I put more hours watching the Laserdisc than the VHS, actually. I still know the exact splitting point where you have to flip the disc over. It's right after Honest John and the coachmen are conspiring, and then it fades back into Pinocchio saying, "No, sir, I'm going to school." Core memories. Actually, this is actually a good opportunity for me to show you, it's the exact same art for the VHS and the Laserdisc, but you can see the Laserdisc has a lot more to it. Like, man, I always love Laserdisc art because they really open it up and they're able to show off a lot more on the sides and stuff compared to tapes. And even compared to DVDs and Blu-rays these days. Next up was Fantasia, and of course we need to start out with Fantasia on VHS. Another one that I have from my childhood. More core memories from this. Man, I love this film. I love that it comes in this black clamshell. It just always felt so different because of that. Wow, the last time I watched this I only got about halfway through. Interesting. Anyway, but on top of the VHS, we also got a DVD, and this is actually a 2-movie pack with 3 discs. This is called the Fantasia Anthology, and it comes with Fantasia, Fantasia 2000, and a 3rd DVD called Fantasia Legacy. This DVD is all the bonus features for both films. And yeah, my family got this on DVD as soon as it released, and this has been the highest quality that I've owned Fantasia ever since. But, we also have other things to look at. Here is the retail Laserdisc, and you'll note that I said retail Laserdisc. This is another one where it's just, the same as the Masterpiece Collection cover on the front and the back. This comes with, I think, 4 discs. Those comes with 2 discs, 3 sides. So you needed to make the film that big in order to fit the film on there. You needed 3 discs instead of just 2. But I also got another one that's so big I couldn't even put it on the table. This is the collector's edition of Fantasia on Laserdisc. This is a special edition CAV copy of the film, and it is ginormous. This thing is like, if I were to compare it to the normal Laserdisc, here they are side by side. The collector's edition is way bigger. And instead of coming on only 3 sides, this comes on 6. There are 3 laser discs in here, 2 sides per disc, and it comes with a lot of other bonus stuff as well. It comes with lithographs, it comes with a booklet, a certificate of authenticity. This is just so cool, man. I love this Laserdisc set so much. Back when collector's editions for anything were basically Laserdisc only, it was so cool. Now we're moving on to Dumbo, and, well, this is an interesting one for me because I only own VHS tapes and one other really cool thing. So, Dumbo got like 12 or something like that, maybe only 7, but it got a lot of VHS releases. So this was the very first one. This was the Disney Classics collection. You see, I still have the sticker there from when I first bought this off a store shelf. Most of these, or some of these, I bought, secondhand when I was an adult. Then we've got the second Classics release. This is the Black Diamond Classics release. Next up is the Masterpiece Collection, and this is the one I grew up with, this tape right here. So yeah, it got 2 Classics releases before it got re-released as part of the Masterpiece Collection. I'm pretty sure it got 2 Masterpiece Collection releases. And then, even after that, it got another release for its 60th anniversary as well. This is one of the final VHS clamshells that Disney released. This had to have released in 2001. I'm kind of surprised they even did clamshells then. And then the really cool thing to show off is this. This is a CED release of Dumbo, and up until recently, this was the single oldest release of any film that I owned. This that I'm holding in my hands was put on a store shelf in the year 1982. Up until just a few weeks ago, this was the oldest home video release of any kind that I owned. So if you don't know what a CED is, it's basically a record and inside there, but it plays video instead of just audio, and it's very unreliable, and I don't have a CED player, so I couldn't use this even if I wanted to, but it's just really cool to have a CED of a Disney movie. It's really interesting. So, moving on to the final film in Disney's golden age, and my favorite of those films, Bambi. So, I think I can manage to show them off in a release order here. So the first VHS of Bambi was this one, which was part of the, oh, I just got a really bad glare, sorry. This one, which was part of the classics, the Black Diamond classics. Just a really classic, no pun intended, cover there. This is such a tranquil film. It's such a beautiful, artsy, just so good. You guys need to watch Bambi, and it'll just put you in a good mood. Then we've got the Masterpiece Collection re-release. This was part of the film's 35th and 55th anniversary. And if you guys are wondering, I actually did not grow up with Bambi. I didn't watch it until I got this very release for Easter in 2005. This is the Platinum Edition DVD. So this very disc, like I said, so we got it for Easter in 2005, which was a little over 20 years ago now. This was my first time actually watching the film. I fell in love with it instantly. I've been in love with it ever since. Disney, please release a 4K of Bambi. Well, to be fair, all of their restorations from, DVD and Blu-ray have been really, really good. So, unlike some other restorations, these are really good. Anyway, then we've got this. This is interesting because it's in a DVD case, but this is actually a Blu-ray DVD combo as part of the Diamond Edition. So this is in the early days of Blu-ray when they weren't quite sure if they wanted to keep it in DVD cases or give it its own separate Blu-ray case, and they decided to go with a DVD case in this case. I actually own a couple of Disney animation films in this style of case where it's a DVD case, but there's a Blu-ray inside. And then finally, we have come to the, is this the Signature Series? No, it's just the anniversary edition of Bambi on Blu-ray, so that's what it looked. No, it is the Signature collection. That's what I thought. I thought that looked familiar. So this is the most recent release of Bambi. As you can see, this is actually the Walmart version that came with the Voodoo sticker. So yeah, I love Bambi. I'm glad to own it so many times, and I'm kind of surprised I don't own it on Laserdisc. I feel like this is the kind of film that I would track down on Laserdisc, but I have yet to. These next pile of movies, I'm just going to go through all at once. I'm going to try my best to show them off in order, in release order anyway. So, the package films from the package era. Starting off with Saludos Amigos. This is the one and only VHS tape release. This was part of the Gold Collection. This was one of the last films that released on VHS, the last Disney animation films that needed to release on VHS. So glad that it got that. And then after that, we've got, if I could find it, The Three Caballeros. And I actually have a couple of tapes. So we've got this one that doesn't seem to be part of any particular release, not that I can see. But then we also have the Three Caballeros from the Gold Collection, and this is the tape that I grew up with. So I have watched the Three Caballeros more than any other package film easily. I think it's fun. I don't think it's a particularly great film, but I think it's good. And then if you if you were a member of Disney Movie Club, you had access to getting both films in a single Blu-ray release. So this comes with Saludos Amigos and The Three Caballeros on Blu-ray. And I just rewatched both these films last month, and they look amazing in HD. These films, I would be shocked if they ever got a 4K release, so Blu-ray is the highest quality that I own them, but also likely the highest quality I will ever own them. So yeah. So after that was Make Mine Music. And the only copy of that I own is the Blu-ray from Disney Movie Club. Right here, as you can see, it's still sealed just because I haven't had a chance to open it up yet and watch it. I like keeping my stuff sealed until I watch it. That's just how I prefer things, but I fully intend on watching this. I fully intend on having a Disney animation marathon at some point. Every single film from beginning to end. And when I do, I'll need to watch that. Their next film was Fun and Fancy Free. And I have this one from, this tape from the Masterpiece Collection. And not much to say about it, so there it is. I believe that the Blu-ray for this is a 2-in-1 with The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, and it is not cheap. So I'm holding out. I'm hoping for a 4K, but likely that won't happen. Again, these are not films that are screaming for a 4K. And then the next film that released was Melody Time. So we got this VHS from the Masterpiece Collection. I see this VHS fairly often, actually, which is surprising because I don't remember seeing it all that much in my youth. And then I also got the Blu-ray. Again, it's a Disney Movie Club exclusive Blu-ray. There are quite a few Disney animation films that only got a Blu-ray release through Disney Movie Club. So I'm glad I got the majority of them when I did before they closed. And then finally, the last of the package films, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, and another tape that was released through the Walt Disney Masterpiece Collection. It feels like that's just the single best. Wow, I got a lot of warping there. Tapes are old, okay? It feels like the Masterpiece Collection is just like the best releases of Disney films that we ever got on VHS. Like it's the premium line of films, honestly. Yeah, I could just keep shifting stuff this way. So let's move on to their first film that Disney made after they finished up their package films, and that is Cinderella. So I'm just going to go from top down here. So again, newest to oldest. So first off, we have the, just like Snow White, we got a 4K Disney 100 Steelbook in 2023, and this one is still sealed because on top of owning this, I also own the standard 4K release of the film, and I got this the second it released. This is actually the Disney Movie Club exclusive that comes with a DVD. The standard store copies did not, so yeah, pretty interesting. And it was starting with this film that Disney's 4K restoration team just took off. They have not messed up once, and in fact they've only gotten better and better and better, which is why I want to see more and more 4K restorations, because man, seeing this in 4K and looking so good, it's just, oh man, it makes me excited to see what else they come out with. And then I go straight to the Blu-ray. So the Cinderella Blu-ray is notorious as one of the worst restorations ever. So they applied a whole ton of DNR. So they scrubbed the film grain so much that it actually got rid of a lot of the artist's hand-painted strokes of the pen and a lot of the color and the sparkles of her dress. Like, they really screwed up with this one, so I'm glad that they fixed it with the 4K restoration. And you're probably wondering, well, why do you still have it then if the 4K is way better? Well, this comes with a lot of bonus features, but as well as that, I just don't like getting rid of stuff. So, backing up even further, we have two VHS tapes. We've got this one, part of the Masterpiece Collection, which is the one that I grew up with. So, yeah, a lot of memories with this VHS tape. I mean, what's to say? I grew up with this. I love this film. But then, before that, there was the Classics release. So the Black Diamond Classics release of Cinderella. And this is a rather rare one. In all my time that I've been looking for VHS tapes, I've seen this maybe twice. It's kind of interesting. So I guess most people have got the Masterpiece Collection version. In any case, there we go. And then, as you would expect, I also have the Laserdisc, another one that I grew up with. So this is the Masterpiece Collection Laserdisc, and I mean, that's what it looks like. It just looks like the VHS, but with more off to the sides. I just love Laserdisc covers, man. They look so good. They look like you could frame them and put them on a wall. In fact, a lot of people do. Okay, the next film up is Alice in Wonderland, and let's go ahead and start with the tapes. So we have the Masterpiece Collection tape here. Alice in Wonderland's another one of those films that got a lot of tape releases. I feel like there's 5 or 6, and I only own 2. So I own the Masterpiece Collection and also the Gold Collection. Another late release. So most of the Gold Collection tapes are not easy to find. The Masterpiece Collection ones and the classics are the ones that you're most likely to find. Gold Collection, not so much. And then, of course, we have the newest restoration from Disney, Alice in Wonderland in 4K, and this just looks amazing. It looks great. They did an amazing job of making it look tremendous. I believe that they re-released this for the film's 75th anniversary. Happy 75th birthday to Alice in Wonderland. Watching this in 4K was like watching the film all over again for the very first time. And, of course, I have a Laserdisc for this as well. Excuse me. So yeah, it's just the Masterpiece Collection, but with more of the characters spread out so you could see them more, and yeah. I mean, what's to say now that I haven't said before? I did not think this through. All this shuffling I gotta do. It's only seconds for you guys, but it's literally going to be like several minutes for me to get all this shuffled without hurting anything. Okay, I just pulled the next row up. Let's go ahead and continue. So after Alice in Wonderland, we've got Peter Pan. So I've got 2 tapes for Peter Pan. We've got the original Black Diamond Classics edition right here. Another one that I don't see too often, mostly what I see is the one that I grew up with, the 45th Anniversary Masterpiece Collection edition with this beautiful gold leaf cover. It just looks really nice. It catches the light. It's really pretty. This has a nice little documentary at the end of it on the making of the film. It's pretty cool. And yeah, these are the only copies of Peter Pan that I currently own. Funny enough, I do not own a higher quality version, at least not yet. I'm hoping for the 4K, but even if not, I'll probably pick up the Blu-ray at some point. So after Peter Pan, the next film is Lady and the Tramp, and I've got several copies of that film here. So the very first release was the Classics edition, as you can see right here. So that's what it looks like. Wow, my copy is dirty, but you know, again, these tapes are what, 30, some of them are close to 40 years old now, so you know, stuff's bound to get dirty after that amount of time when it's made in cheap plastic. And then after that was the Masterpiece Collection release. So this is what it looks like. I think that it looks a little nicer, just this pose of the two of them, Lady and the Tramp, just looking off to the stars while eating their spaghetti. It's just such a classic photo. And then, this is probably something that most people don't know about, they also released Lady and the Tramp on widescreen VHS. Yeah, because Lady and the Tramp and Sleeping Beauty were filmed in widescreen, and you had to go out of your way to get a widescreen version of the film if you wanted to watch it in its original aspect ratio. And I feel like most people didn't even know these existed, much less cared at the time. So this is really cool. And as you can see, whoever had this before me took massive care to keep it in much better condition. So yeah, it's really, really cool to see such an old version of Lady and the Tramp in widescreen. And then, of course, I own a Laserdisc of it. This is the Classics Edition Laserdisc, so that's what it looks like. Again, more room off to the side for both of them. I feel like the Laserdisc actually frames it a lot nicer. It makes it look like they're like in the center of a photograph or something like that. It's a very pleasant looking image. And of course, Disney's next film after Lady and the Tramp was Sleeping Beauty, and it looks like I only have a couple of tapes here, so I only have the standard edition VHS here. So this is the Masterpiece Collection. This is the full screen version, not the widescreen. I've yet to pick up the widescreen VHS. I want to someday, but that's one of the harder VHS tapes to track down, so I'm still looking. And then, very recently, a friend of mine actually dropped this off for me as a donation. So this is the special edition of Sleeping Beauty here. So I feel like this must have been released for the film's anniversary or something like that. Regardless, it's, yeah, I just realized, wait a minute, this is a Canadian copy of the film. Look, there's only Canadian ratings down there. There's no MPAA ratings. That's pretty cool. That's pretty interesting. So, yay. And I do own Sleeping Beauty on Blu-ray. So this is the first of several that we're going to see that are in just a Disney 100 slipcover. So just like the 4K Steelbooks, if a film did not have a 4K release, then they just re-release the Blu-ray with this silver Disney 100 themed slipcover. And it is just a slipcover. The release underneath is the same as a standard release of the time that it released. But the slipcover would all have matching silver backgrounds and then 1 or 2 characters in the front to show off that film. So yes, I do currently own Sleeping Beauty in the highest quality possible, but of all the films that I want to see get a 4K, Sleeping Beauty is the one that I want next, just because it's widescreen, it was filmed on 70mm, it's a Disney princess film, it's one of the fans' favorite films. It just turned 70 last year, so please, please, Disney, just please, oh, actually it turns 70 next year. Like, this is the perfect opportunity, Disney. Give us a 4K of Sleeping Beauty. I do also own this CAV Laserdisc of the film from the Classics era. So, yeah, this is the Classics. So it's a CAV disc, which means it's a higher quality disc. It's the same as that special edition of Fantasia. Yeah, and this, I believe, was the highest quality version of the film that I owned before I got the before I got the Blu-ray. So, now we move on to 101 Dalmatians, and I've got a couple of releases here. So, we've got the original tape release from the Classics edition. So, I wasn't actually aware that this was a thing until I was an adult, and now that I know, I keep looking at it thinking, wow, that's such a cool design. I can't believe I never saw it anywhere else. And then we also had a tape release as part of the Masterpiece collection here. And that is what the cover looked like. And it might surprise you guys to learn that I did not grow up with these. What I grew up with was a tape recording of the film off of the Disney Channel. So, you know, in the 90s, the Disney Channel used to run these films every once in a while, and when they did, my dad would just record them to tape and we would watch that tape. It wasn't until it released on DVD, this DVD, that we actually owned the film properly. So, as you can see, it's pretty much the exact same design as the Masterpiece Collection, except it says limited edition up there. This was one of the first ever Disney releases on DVD. My dad picked it up when it released, and this was my main way of watching it for pretty much ever since. But then it did get a Disney 100 Blu-ray as well. I just picked this up fairly recently, and this is now my highest quality version of the film. And until it gets a 4K release, this is the highest quality version of the film. And that's just what the release looked like underneath as part of the signature edition. So yeah, the slipcover is a little beat up, but you know what? It's complete, and sometimes I care about that more than I care about condition. The next film after 101 Dalmatians was the final film released during Walt Disney's time, and that is The Sword and the Stone. And the only copies I have of this are 2 tapes, so we've got this original release from the Classics. I think this might be the oldest Classics VHS that I own, unless that first Dumbo one that I showed is older, I'm not sure. I know that this is a very early release though, so this is either my oldest or my second oldest Disney tape that I own. And then we also have the Masterpiece Collection. And that's what it looks like. And The Sword and the Stone was another one of those films that we just recorded the video off the Disney Channel and watched that whenever we wanted to see the film. I still have that tape, and it's ingrained in my memory because my dad left the next like half hour of show on after the movie ended. So I've got all the commercials, the bumpers, and the first 10 minutes of the next show on that tape. And sometimes I watch it just for that instead of the film. Anyway, the next film, the first released after Walt Disney's death, but the last one that he had major supervision over, was The Jungle Book. So let's go ahead and show it off. We're going to start off with the Classics, the Black Diamond Classics VHS tape. And then we're actually going to show off something really interesting. I have the Masterpiece Collection 30th Anniversary VHS tape here, and as you can see, it is still factory sealed. Another one that I just found out in the wild. It was still sealed. I haven't had a need to open it up. I don't want to open it up. This is a piece of history right here. And yeah, this is my copy of the film from the Masterpiece Collection VHS. But the version that I grew up with and the version that I still watch to this day is the Laserdisc, the Masterpiece Laserdisc. It's the same. It's just got, you know, this nice gold foil all over it. It comes with this documentary on it for when they were making the film. Yeah, a lot of really cool stuff here. So this is the way that man, that is dirty. I need to take some isopropyl alcohol to this. Anyway, this is the highest quality version of the Jungle Book I have. And as tempting as it is sometimes to get a DVD or a Blu-ray of this, man, there's also just the fact that ever since I was like 3 years old, this has been my way of watching the film. I expect a 4K at some point of this. Well, actually, I don't know. The Xerox films can't really benefit that much from a 4K. But you know, I'm sure if Disney thinks that there's money involved, that they'll make it happen. And to be fair, to be absolutely fair, they're right. If they release The Jungle Book in 4K, I will buy it. So the first major film released after Disney's death that he did not, help to make is The Aristocats. And this is the version that I watched growing up, the Masterpiece Collection VHS tape. I've always loved this picture of Duchess and Thomas O'Malley and the kittens and Edgar down there. Like, I've always loved this picture. It's such a beautiful picture. It's like a piece of art in itself, just this cover here. And then I do own the film on Blu-ray. This is the Disney 100 Blu-ray. This is one of the very first things that I ever got from Disney Movie Club, as a matter of fact, and I'm glad I did, because this ended up being one of the harder ones to find afterwards. So, and the movie is still sealed. I haven't watched this in the highest quality possible yet, but I'm sure I will someday. One day I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to have a marathon for every Disney animation film, and when I do, I'll open all these up and watch them. Then I also have a Laserdisc here. So it's just the Masterpiece Collection Laserdisc. And yeah, I think that I like the VHS cover a little more, actually, just because I feel like the extra space doesn't actually do much for this film, for this cover. But yeah, I love this film. I love the film. I love the art. Like, this is just a fun, low-stakes film. And sometimes that's all I really want from a movie. Now we move on to Robin Hood, one of my favorite films. And let's go ahead and start with this. This is exciting because I just said earlier, that's my oldest Disney Classics tape. No, this is my oldest Disney Classics tape because this is the oldest Disney Classics tape. This is the very first film ever released as part of the Classics edition. So it comes in this nice clamshell. It feels almost like premium leather, but it's just really good plastic. It comes in this clamshell. We got this big classic stamp in there. Hopefully it shows up on camera really well. So yeah, when I found out that this was the very first Disney Classics tape ever, I had to have it. This retailed for the equivalent of like $250 when it first released in 1984, and people still bought it because it was that important to own a Disney movie that you could watch over and over and over. And yeah, man, it's just really cool to own this. There's also a couple of other, well, 3 other VHS tapes that I own here. So it got a Classics re-release here. So it's basically the exact same cover, but in a standard clamshell. And this was released way later after most of the other films in the Classics had already released. Then we move on to the Masterpiece Collection, which is yet again the exact same cover as the Classics, but then it finally got another Masterpiece release, and this is the cover that I'm more familiar with. Whenever I saw Robin Hood at friends' houses, this was the cover that they tended to have. But the way that I owned the film was actually with this very DVD. When it released, this was one of the very first times I personally bought something with my own money off of eBay. This was a 2006 DVD release, so I would have been 14, and I remember... Oh, let me go ahead and show it off so I don't forget. This is the Most Wanted edition. And I remember releasing it on DVD and thinking, you know what? I don't own the film and I want to own the film. So I went out of my way to buy the film on eBay. And it's been in my collection ever since. 20 years now. Holy cow. And yes, indeed, I do own a Laserdisc of Robin Hood as well. This is the Classics Laserdisc. So this is the one that came with the second release of the Classics. I like this cover. It spreads the characters out. It fills the picture a lot better. Like, this is, again, these Laserdiscs you could just put on a wall. They look so good. So good. I love them so much. All right, then we got a whole pile of movies here that I only own 1 or 2 copies of. So let me go ahead and move this down here and get to them. So I have my single copy of The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. I've always loved this tape. It has this documentary on it of the making of the film, or of the various shorts that make up the film. Yeah. Another one that I should get the Blu-ray. I should just get it, but you know, again, what if they release the 4K? No, no, I'll probably get the Blu-ray pretty soon. It's easy enough to find. I see it all over the place. It's cheap, and you know, Winnie the Pooh is just one of their best films, so no reason not to. My single copy of The Rescuers. Again, this is a VHS tape. This is part of the Classics collection. So I didn't really watch The Rescuers that much growing up. I saw it a couple of times on the Disney Channel. I never really owned it. Then we got all my copies of The Fox and the Hound. Remember how I said I only got one or two of each of these? Well, this is the exception. So let's go ahead and start with the Classics VHS tape. This was the final film that Disney released in the Classics collection. That very first Robin Hood tape released in 1984, and this tape released in 1994. 10 years of the Classics, and they made this the final film to release. Man, I love The Fox and the Hound, but I have to be in a certain mood to watch it, just because it leaves me feeling a certain way when it's over. You know, in a sad way, like the epitome of bittersweet. Like, beautiful film, tremendous characters, but man, it makes you sad and depressed at the end of it, but also happy. And yeah, if you've seen the film, you know what I mean. Then we've got this released through the Gold Collection. So again, another one of these that I didn't even bother taking off the sticker. I just like looking at these and remembering how much I paid for it, where it came from, all that stuff. So yeah, Gold Collection re-release. But the way that I watched the film growing up was this DVD, the 25th anniversary DVD. So another one that I got for, this released in 2006, so I don't remember if I got this for Easter or for my birthday. Maybe one of my siblings got it for their birthday. Whatever it is, this is the DVD that we had, so this is the way that I watched it when I was growing up. So yeah, still good. And then we have two different Blu-rays, actually. We've got this 2-pack of The Fox and the Hound and The Fox and the Hound 2. That was a Disney Movie Club exclusive, and yeah, I got it. And unlike a lot of other things that I'm showing off, this isn't just a slipcover. It looks like that underneath as well. It's a really interesting art on the front, a very unique art that you don't really see anywhere else. So very happy to have that. And we also have the Disney 100 release. So that's what the front looks like. I think this is one of the only releases where you actually have both of them on the front instead of just one of the characters. And this is what the standard release looks like underneath. So if you wanted the film but you didn't have Disney Movie Club, that's the version that it would have looked like. So that's all my copies of The Fox and the Hound. Obviously, I do own it in the highest quality possible since I own the Blu-ray. If a 4K comes out, I'll get it, I'll watch it, and I'll be glad to own it, but man, it is really hard to get through that film. You need a lot of spoons. After The Fox and the Hound is Disney's darkest film, but you know what? I still like this a lot. It still has a lot of that classic Disney magic. And of course, I'm talking about The Black Cauldron, a film I didn't even know existed until I was an adult because it just wasn't anywhere. No one talked about it. Disney hardly advertised it. But it is still part of the Disney animation canon. I believe this is their 25th film, if I remember right. And again, you watch it and you still have that classic Disney magic. It still feels like a Disney film, even if it is the black sheep of the family. And I did get the Blu-ray from Disney Movie Club, so I own it in the highest quality possible. A 4K version of this does exist on Disney Plus, and it's actually a really good copy of it, but my guess is that the Blu-ray itself sold so poorly that Disney just has no interest in releasing a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray. I would love to be proven wrong. Disney, if you could please release The Black Cauldron on 4K, people will buy it, but I also understand that I'm not the one making that decision. Next up, we've got two tapes for The Great Mouse Detective. So that's what this one looks like. This is part of the Classics. This is another film where the way that I watched it was just watching recorded tape. In fact, I think that's still my preferred way of watching it. Just a lot of nostalgia from that particular tape. And then here's the other one. This is just The Great Mouse Detective, and this isn't part of any particular series or set of tapes. So that's what the front looks like. We do have the Disney logo up there, which almost looks like it's part of the Masterpiece Collection, but there's nothing there to actually say that it is. So I don't know anything about this tape. I can't find any information on it. So those are my two copies of the film, and that's the highest quality that I own it. Next up, we've got Oliver and Company. I've always liked this film. This is just a fun film. So it's clearly a modern day adaptation of Oliver Twist. This is the Masterpiece Collection VHS, and then the way that I watched the film growing up was Oliver and Company on DVD. Another one that I remember going out of my way to get when I was old enough to buy stuff off eBay. So I got this right before I left for Academy when I was like 15 or 16, something like that. And this has been my preferred way of watching it ever since. Surely it's gotten a Blu-ray. Okay, I know it's gotten a Blu-ray because every single Disney film is on Blu-ray, but I can't remember ever actually seeing it for sale anywhere. All right, we're in the home stretch, guys. I just got one more row. Let me pull it closer to me and I'll be right back. All right, here we go. It's time to begin the Disney Renaissance, the era of Disney films that I grew up with and thus have an insane amount of nostalgia for. Let's go ahead and start with the very first film of the Renaissance, The Little Mermaid. And yeah, again, going in reverse order here. So this is the 4K Blu-ray of the film. Here it is, not much to really say about. Well, I'm just running out of stuff to talk about in general, but I just love The Little Mermaid. Tremendous film. You know, it's a classic for a reason. Then I also own the Disney 100 version of the film. My eventual goal is to own every single Disney 100 release that there is, so this video will be outdated in probably just a few months when I add more stuff, but now seems like a good time to make it, so yeah. And that's what it looks like underneath. This is just the signature edition, just like the 4K, but on Blu-ray. This is interesting, and you're going to be seeing a few more of these in the near future. This is the Diamond Edition of The Little Mermaid on 3D Blu-ray. I do own a 3D TV, and I love watching 3D movies. And in my opinion, watching The Little Mermaid in 3D is probably the best way of watching it, even above watching the film in 4K. Just because, like, the 3D conversion of this is so good. It was the last film that Disney converted to 3D before they stopped doing that in the early 2010s. And it just looks amazing. The colors pop, the characters pop. If you ever get the opportunity of watching any of your favorite films in 3D, please do it. Do yourself a favor. Then we got the VHS tapes. So we're going to start off with this one from the classics, which needs no introduction. Everyone knows all about this tape. There's a very particular reason why everyone knows about it. I'll give you a second to find it. Anyway, so surprise, surprise, this was not the version that I grew up with. It was this version, the Masterpiece Collection tape. So I love this tape as well. This has a unique version of the film that that I've never seen anywhere else. So in the credits of the film, usually they just replay the music from Under the Sea. But for this, instead, they put a music video over the credits of Part of Your World, and that has always stuck out to me as like that should be the way that the film ends, is just this beautiful power song of Part of Your World instead of just They All Live Happily Ever After. Under the Sea, yeah. Just I miss the power ballads of the 90s. They're just, man, we lost something when we got rid of that. My only copy of The Rescuers Down Under is this VHS tape from the classics. So another film that I just absolutely love. It's beautiful, like some of the best animation from the era, which is saying something. Man, I need to get the Blu-ray. There's a 2-in-1 Blu-ray of The Rescuers and The Rescuers Down Under. I need to get it. Moving on to Beauty and the Beast, of course, we have the classics VHS tape. This is the one that I grew up with, and it is very loved. It is very torn in some places, but that just shows that me and my family watched this, and we loved it a lot. And we also have another VHS tape. This is the Platinum Edition tape. I own every single Platinum Edition release on clamshell. There's only 4. There's, Snow White, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and The Lion King. And yeah, here we are. So this is the Platinum Edition tape. Very nice. I own several other copies of Beauty and the Beast. Again, I got the film on 3D Blu-ray. So yeah, this is another one that they, at least this one they at least released in theaters. And I have this core memory of going to see this with my, my then fiance. We had been engaged but not married at the time in 2012 when this released. So we went to the theater and saw it. Man, I love this lenticular cover. That was her first time ever watching this movie, actually. And the credits have this amazing this amazing variant where you see sketches of each of the characters pop out in the background as the credits roll. You guys can look that up on YouTube. Just look for Beauty and the Beast 3D credits. You'll see it, and beautiful, beautiful. One of the best films ever made. Then we got the Disney 100 Blu-ray. So in this particular one, it's a picture of Belle, and that's what the release looks like underneath, the signature edition Blu-ray, and it's still sealed. No reason to open it up because, of course, I own the film also on Blu-ray. So this is the other Walmart gold slipcover from 2016 holiday. This is the other one from Disney Animation. So there was Snow White and there was this. There was another several films actually, but anyway. So that's what it looks like. It's basically the signature edition just with this slipcover. And again, it's exactly the same underneath, which, hold on, I just realized, does that mean that these are identical releases and they're both still sealed? Yeah, they are. That's hilarious. I didn't even know that until now. That's funny. But they are variants, even if they're just slipcover variants. Anyway, neither of those are opened up because I own the film on 4K, which is, again, the signature edition. So everything on it's identical. It's in 4K. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. I did not realize that I own the exact same copy of Beauty and the Beast 3 times, 2 on Blu-ray, 1 on 4K. That's kind of how that goes when you're a collector, I guess. Anyway, now I'm done with Beauty and the Beast. I'm sure everyone's so happy about. No, I'm not! Hold on! I just realized, no, I'm not, because there is one other release. You're not going to see many more Laserdiscs today, but this is one, and this needs to be talked about. This is a work-in-progress version of Beauty and the Beast that was screened to the New York Film Festival in 1991. It's only about 70% complete, and the other 30% is everywhere from finished animation but with no color to rough storyboards, and you know, it's in progress. And what they did 3 months before the film released is they screened this to the New York Film Festival just to show people, okay, the film's not done yet, but it's almost done, and this is what it'll look like when it is done, and it got a standing ovation. And I can't believe that Disney actually released the film for the general public to buy and own and watch over and over again. And when I found out they did that, I had to own it, and I have seen this several times. It's amazing. I wish that Disney did this more often. So yeah, that's just a really cool Laserdisc that I wanted to share with all of you. So moving on to my next little pile here. Next up is Aladdin. So of course we've got the classics VHS. This is the one that I grew up with. I'm kind of surprised that the tape even still works with how many times I've watched it. You know, amazing film, classic film. Robin Williams is a gem. And then we've got the Platinum Edition tape. And here it is. So again, I own every single Platinum Edition tape, and I've shown off this is number 3, and I've already said what number 4 will be, and we'll be seeing that soon. I also own the Disney 100 edition of the film on Blu-ray. So this is what it is. We've got Aladdin there on the front, and underneath is the Signature Edition Blu-ray. And speaking of Signature Edition, I do own the film on 4K. Every single Disney animation film that has a 4K, I own on 4K. I own every single one. So yeah, this is that. And again, it's the Signature Edition. And I mean, the slip underneath is exactly the same as, or the slip is exactly the same as the case underneath. You know what I mean. I've been recording now for what, an hour, something like that. So anyway, moving on to, man, the biggest animated film when I was growing up. If you guys weren't alive in the 90s, you cannot understand how big this film was. The Lion King, one of my favorite movies ever. So, of course, we have the Masterpiece Collection tape, and fun fact, this is the single best-selling videotape of all time. In fact, I think this is the single best-selling home video release of all time. If I remember right, 42 million copies of this tape, something like that. It's a lot. Everyone needed to own it, and Disney just kept making tapes, and people kept buying it. And then they also got a re-release through the Platinum Edition. And the top is bronze instead of platinum, but oh well. And yeah, if you can believe it, actually, I did not own the VHS tape growing up. We just kept renting it from Blockbuster. I'm not kidding. Anytime we wanted to watch it, we just went to Blockbuster and rented it. We must have done that at least twice a year. Up until the DVD released in 2003, we got the DVD, and this has been my preferred way of watching it ever since. So we got the Platinum Edition DVD. I have, man, just so much nostalgia for when this released. I fell in love with the film all over again. It became my favorite film of all time for quite some time after this release. I'm just a little peek behind the curtain. I'm currently working on procuring a sealed copy of this to get graded to put back there, just because I care about it so much. That's how much of an impact that particular DVD had on me. Even more than the VHS. Everyone wants a graded VHS because it's like, oh, it's the best-selling VHS ever. It's the first release of The Lion King. What I want is the release of The Lion King that I actually grew up with. And we got a couple of other releases of the film here. So we got the 3D Blu-ray of the film. I don't own every single Disney animation film released on 3D Blu-ray, although I do own more than half. And The Lion King is one of them. This was Disney's very first 3D restoration, or 3D conversion ever. It topped the box office in 2011 when it released in theaters. It was only in theaters for 2 weeks, and it was the #1 film both weeks. And I saw it in 3D in theaters, and the idea that I could just watch it in 3D at home whenever I wanted was enough to be like, you know what, I'll get it. And it comes with the Blu-ray as well, and a DVD and a digital copy. And I believe that this red version here, that with the red border and stuff, is exclusive to Target. So this is actually a Target exclusive 3D Blu-ray of The Lion King. And of course, I own the film in 4K. And this was actually the very first Disney animation film that I bought in 4K, if memory serves. I'm pretty sure it is. It's the first it's the first re-release of the film that was released in 4K that I bought for sure. Maybe I got like Frozen or something like that in 4K when it released, but I'm pretty sure this is the very first one I got. I got this before I even had a 4K TV. All I did was I played this on my Xbox onto my 4K computer monitor, which is just SDR, it's not HDR, and even that was enough to make me happy. Just the fact that you could see individual brush strokes from the art in the background just blew my mind. And of course on a 4K OLED, it looks even better. And of course I had to get the film on 4K Steelbook when it got re-released in the Disney 100 Steelbook collection. So, oh, I forgot to mention, all of these Steelbooks were exclusive to Best Buy when they released. The Disney 100 covers were just, you could go anywhere and buy them, but the Steelbooks specifically were exclusive to Best Buy. And yeah, this one is still sealed. I just haven't had a reason to open it, because if I want to watch it in 4K slipcover, I have that. It's exactly the same discs, nothing different about that. So yeah, I love The Lion King, guys. I love The Lion King. Okay, I'm cutting in here. I don't know how this is going to look in the final product, but I'm cutting in here because I did forget to show off 2 releases of The Lion King that were not here on the table. They were behind me, and you'll see why as soon as I show them off. So I do have The Lion King on Laserdisc. Yeah, not much to say about this. I'm pretty sure this is the final Laserdisc that I'm showing off in this video. That's what it looks like. It's just the Masterpiece Collection cover. But yeah, so I do own that Laserdisc of Lion King, and I also own another collector's edition, another CAV collector's edition of The Lion King. This is a nice, big, thick product. Ooh, let me see if I can't show it off there properly. So this is a ginormous release. It comes with the film on the highest quality Laserdisc possible. It comes with all kinds of bonus features, lithographs, special edition booklet, making of documentary. Like, this was the way to own the film if you were a collector in 1994, 1995 when this released on home video. So yeah, sorry about that. And now on with our regularly scheduled program. All right, just a few more piles left. Let's go ahead and get to these where I only have 1 or 2 releases per film for the rest of the Renaissance. So starting with Pocahontas, this is another one where this is the version that I had growing up. Watched this tape so many times. I still fondly remember seeing the advertisements for the Disney Interactive Software. I forget what it's called. Disney Storybook, Animated Storybook, sounds right. There was something there for Disney Magic Artist, the Toy Story game. Yeah, it's interesting that I remember more about the previews on these tapes than I do about the movies sometimes. And then Pocahontas got a re-release with the Gold Collection. And fun fact, actually, when it got re-released on the Gold Collection, Pocahontas 2, Journey to a New World got an accompanying release in the Gold Collection. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. Now, Pocahontas 2 is not a Disney animation canon film, so I'm not showing it off here, but I thought that was pretty cool when I found out, oh, you could put them side by side on a shelf and they would match. And I do own the film on Blu-ray. This is, actually, I believe this is when you joined Disney Movie Club, you had to pick 4 titles to get, and you would pay $1 total, so 25 cents each, and this was one of them that I decided to go for. I just saw Pocahontas, and it comes with Pocahontas 2, and I thought, wow, 2 films in HD for only a quarter? That's like 12.5 cents a film. How could I say no to that? And Pocahontas does not have a 4K release as of now, so that's my highest quality way of owning it. And Pocahontas 2 on top of that. You know, funny enough, I think Pocahontas 2 is actually the more historically accurate film. It's not perfect, but it's closer. Next up is The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I did not grow up with this film. I saw it maybe once or twice when I was younger. I didn't watch it again until I was an adult. So this is the VHS tape. This is the Masterpiece Collection. I know people have a soft spot for this just because of how dark and gritty it is. And, to be fair, Judge Frollo is like amazing as a villain. But story-wise, let's just say I'm going to watch this soon and leave a letterbox review, and you can figure out my full thoughts then. But I did get the film on Blu-ray. This is a 2-pack of The Hunchback of Notre Dame and The Hunchback of Notre Dame 2. And this was a featured title of the month at Disney Movie Club. It was a Blu-ray. I didn't own the film on Blu-ray yet, so I decided, you know what, sure. And it's another one of those where it's a DMC exclusive cover in the case as well as the slip. So yeah, pretty cool. I love these Disney Movie Club exclusive releases. I've been tempted to track down even more of them because there have been some really cool ones for movies that I don't own on Blu-ray yet, or even some that I already do and I just like the cover. So yeah. Next up is Hercules, and this is the Masterpiece Collection VHS, the only VHS release that it got. And that's what it looks like. This is a film that I liked a little more than Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's just a really fun film, and I do own the film on Blu-ray. I've had this Blu-ray longer than I can remember, so yeah, this is the highest quality release of the film so far, so here it is. And this is such a fun film to watch. It's just a really, really funny, good film. Peak Renaissance. Next up is Mulan. So I grew up with this tape right here. This is the Masterpiece Collection VHS tape. I love Mulan. This is probably the best film that they made in the back half of the 90s. And it feels like most of the fans agree with me on that. And then it also got a re-release with the Gold Collection. Pretty much the exact same cover on the front and the back. It's just that now we've got that nice gold band up there on the top and there on the spine. Otherwise, it's the exact same release. But then the film also got a 4K. It's kind of interesting. Like, you've got The Lion King as the most recent 4K, then Mulan, and then nothing at all until... The Emperor's New Groove. It took a while for them to release more 4Ks after Mulan. But anyway, so I believe that the Mulan got this 4K re-release right when the live-action Mulan was coming out. So who am I to complain? This film looks great in 4K. Like, Disney, your Renaissance films were rendered in caps. They're sitting on a server somewhere in your vault. All you need to do is re-render them in native 4K, and you will earn a mint. Just do it. People will buy Hercules. People will buy Tarzan. People will buy The Rescuers Down Under. All you need to do is just hit the render button and go and get some coffee for an afternoon. That's all you need to do. Just saying. The final film of the Disney Renaissance is Tarzan. So this is the VHS tape, and this is the first one that they released that is not part of a collection. So nothing there on the spine. It is simply Tarzan. I guess now is when they decided, you know what, the Disney Vault's nice, but we don't need to really shove it down people's throats. And then on top of the VHS, they also released the film on DVD. And this was my way of owning the film. So I watched this DVD to death. I mean, I dread to think, if we were to look at the underside, oh, wow, that's actually pretty good. I was expecting all kinds of scratches and stuff from how much we played this disc. I'm not complaining. But yeah, this is the highest quality that I own Tarzan. Their next film that they made was Fantasia 2000. This is the VHS tape. I have a core memory with this because my dad took me to see this film in IMAX on New Year's Day 2000. And I don't mean IMAX like how most people see IMAX these days. I'm sure most people now are familiar with true IMAX versus LIMAX. I went to a true IMAX theater to see this, the one where you have to crane your head all over the place to see it. And it was amazing. It was my first time ever at an IMAX theater. Yeah, and as I have said before, I also own the film on DVD. So this is what the DVD looks like here of Fantasia 2000. This is how I owned the film growing up. Up next is Disney's funniest film ever, and it's not even close, The Emperor's New Groove. Another film I didn't really grow up with. I didn't really know it was a thing until I was a teenager or so, but I remember seeing it the first time and laughing pretty hard, actually, and just falling in love with it. And ever since then, I've just grown more and more to love this film. So, got the VHS there. Then we got a 2-movie Blu-ray here. We've got The Emperor's New Groove and Kronk's New Groove. 2-for-1 collection in this single Blu-ray release. And, nope, it's actually on 2 different discs. I thought it was on a single disc, but no, it's on 2 discs. And, of course, that probably means they're... Oh, wait, no, that's on... I'm sorry, that's the DVD. The Blu-ray, they are on a single disc. Okay, I'm okay with that. Yeah, I knew that there was a single release. Anyway. And then we have the film, most of us never thought this would happen, but we got the film re-released on 4K last year for the film's 25th anniversary. My copy is still sealed. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but that's just because I had literally watched the Blu-ray like a month before this was announced, so I've seen it fairly recently. But you know what? I love this film. It's so funny. I can also do a pretty good Kronk voice.
All right, the poison. The poison for Cusco. The poison chosen specifically to kill Cusco. Cusco's poison. That poison.
Next up, we've got this film that Disney themselves did not consider part of their canon until way later, Dinosaur. Another film that I saw at a friend's house once and then never again until I was an adult. I've seen it maybe one time in the last 10 years. I wouldn't call it bad. It still has that Disney magic to it, like The Black Cauldron, but it's definitely mediocre. It's one of those, you know, it's clearly a tech demo. It's like the live action Lion King, like where they put more effort into trying to make it look good than actually think through a story. I don't hate it. I definitely don't hate it, but it's really hard for me to be interested in giving it a watch, you know? Another film that people love to defend, Atlantis, the Lost Empire. I can talk. I've just been talking for an hour. So again, I know that this is a cult classic. People love this film. They'll defend this film, but I don't know. Like, I've watched it a few times, and every time I do, I just keep wondering, well, who's the intended audience? It's too mature for younger viewers. It's too juvenile for adults. It's a little nonsensical at times. It's a well-made film, you know, technically speaking, but the story and the premise, I just don't know about it. This one's a lot easier to love, though. Of course, we got to talk about Lilo and Stitch. And as of the time I'm recording this, I just found out, like, literally 50 minutes before I started hitting the record button that the voice of Lilo died. Rest in peace. So yeah, this is the big film. Everyone loved this when it came out. It was the last big film that Disney had up until, oh, this was a blockbuster release. I didn't even realize this particular tape. This was Disney's last big film that they made before, or probably through the entirety of the 2000s, honestly. People loved it. People still love Stitch. Hard to believe that this film is going to turn 25 next year. And I own the 4K of Lilo and Stitch that released last year when the live action film came out. So here it is, and yeah, we got this beautiful art that was custom commissioned just for the 4K. This looks really, really nice. I like this cover a lot. And the film does look really good in 4K. Next up is my only release of Treasure Planet. I just picked this up a month or two ago. This was one of the last films that I needed to complete my Disney animation set. So I decided, well, if I'm missing it, I may as well get in the highest quality possible, so I got the Blu-ray. Another film that people love to defend, like Atlantis, at least this one, I feel like, it's Treasure Island just set in space. Like, I feel like the premise is a lot better, the characters are a lot more interesting, and it's a lot more watchable. I still wouldn't call it one of Disney's best films ever, but you know, it's still at least something that if I had a choice, I probably would watch it. Then we've got my DVD of Brother Bear, my only copy of the film. I fell in love with Brother Bear the first time I saw it. So it was shown at a summer camp that I went to in 2004, and I fell in love with it, and I just had to go and get the DVD, and here's the DVD. And this is I just love it. Like I know people don't, but I do. And this is a fun film, and I need to get the Blu-ray of this. I know that the Blu-ray exists. Speaking of Blu-rays, next up we've got Disney's final 2D movie from the 2000s before they started doing 3D films, Home on the Range. Another film where it does have that Disney magic. I don't hate it, but I think we all know how we all feel about Home on the Range, right? All right, moving on to pretty much from here on out, most films only have a single release. There's a few with multiple releases, but most of these only have one. So let's go on to Disney's very first CG film. I said that, but they just made Dinosaur. Well, this is their first, they actually made it instead of just taking it from someone else. Chicken Little. I actually saw this in theaters in 2005. I know most people skipped it. I watched it. I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay. It was interesting. I feel like if they had another 6 months to work through the story, they could have come up with something really cool, but as it is, it's still okay. I still like it. This is an honorable mention. So depending on where you are in the world, this, and not Dinosaur, counts as a Disney animation film. In the US, this does not, but in the UK, it does. The Wild. And I'm including it here just for the sake of completion. So The Wild is, well, if you guys ever seen Madagascar, then you've seen The Wild. So it's kind of hard to explain. This was not made by the Disney Animation Group, but it was distributed by Disney, and enough of those people ended up moving over to Disney Animation later that Disney decided to just count this as part of their canon in Europe. Kind of the same as Dinosaur, but at least I'm not getting into the nitty-gritty of it. In Europe, this counts as Disney Animation. In the US, this does not. So I'm counting it as an honorable mention. Regardless, I own the Blu-ray. I also own the Blu-ray of Meet the Robinsons. So, yeah, this and The Wild both have this early Blu-ray design where it's like, oh, you got the high-quality platinum disc look over there on the side. I don't know what they were going for. Anyway, I really like Meet the Robinsons. It's a simple film. It's not high stakes. It's a little predictable. It's a little cheesy, but man, it has charm. It really does. Then, depending on who you ask, this is the film that began the Disney revival. And this is my favorite film from Disney's 2000s era, Bolt. I remember being really excited when this came out. I remember going to the theaters and watching this twice and finding out every little bit of information I could on it before it released. I love Bolt, and I'm glad to see that so many other fans do as well. Again, depending on who you ask, this was probably the start of Disney's revival. It was a high-quality film, got good praise, got good box office numbers, and fans continue to love it to this day. But most people would say that the actual start of the Disney revival was their final big 2D film, The Princess and the Frog. It's a Disney princess film. It's made in 2D, classic film. It feels like it's from the Renaissance era. And of course, I own the film in 4K. This is my only copy of the film. I just didn't have a reason to buy anything less, right? So it doesn't matter, though. Bolt and The Princess and the Frog are both great, and regardless of which one of them came first, everyone agrees that what came after was just hit after hit after hit. Disney was back after their dark era. So, I've got a couple releases here of Tangled. We're going to start off with this Disney 100 release slipcover. Yeah, so this is what the release looks like underneath. It's just part of their multi-screen edition. And speaking of multi-screen edition, we got the exact same art here with Tangled on 4K. The lantern scene is like a demo-worthy scene in 4K off this release. It just looks so good, man. So good, so good. I got another release of Tangled here. We've got the DVD. This is the copy that I had. Well, I bought this right when it released on DVD. This was my main way of watching it for all that time until the 4K released. So this is just the standard DVD. I would love to get the 3D Blu-ray at some point because I feel like I watched the film in 3D when it came out in theaters. Eventually, I want to own every Disney animation in 3D that has a 3D. Some of them are easier to get than others. Ralph Breaks the Internet. The only way to own that in 3D is to buy a $75 set from Japan. But this is the joy of being a collector. A little bit at a time, you have a goal, and when you reach that goal, it's time to celebrate, right? Anyway, next up is Disney's final 2D film, Winnie the Pooh from 2011. This is another one of those releases that is a Blu-ray release. It does have the Blu-ray inside right there on top of the DVD, but it comes in a DVD case. So yeah, this was actually, I think this was the last film that I needed to complete my Disney animation collection. So before this, I owned 63 films, and now I own 64, which is however many there are. I liked Winnie the Pooh. This is actually a really good film. Too many people are sleeping on it. Next is one of their biggest films from the 2010s, and people love this a lot for good reason. Wreck-It Ralph. I remember when this released thinking, is this even going to be relevant in just a few years? Because it's a film about video games and arcades, and those things are going to get, outdated within just a matter of months and much less years. But lo and behold, this film still holds up. It's actually gotten better with time. And man, I love it. Every time I watch it, I love it a little more. I also own Wreck-It Ralph on 3D Blu-ray. This is what it looks like. We got this nice lenticular cover there, which moves depending on the way you look at it, which is pretty cool. And of course, I own the film on 4K. From here on out, every single film released by Disney got a 4K release. So yeah, I own the film on 4K. This is my preferred way of watching it, even above the 3D. Next is Disney's biggest film. And I watched this film a lot when it came out. For the longest time, this was my favorite film of all time. I fell in love with it instantly. I know people say it's overrated. I think that they just get tired of hearing that one song, forgetting that the rest of the film is actually mostly a masterpiece. So, of course, I am talking about Frozen. So, and I could have sworn that I owned another Blu-ray of Frozen besides what I have here. But I guess I don't. Or maybe I got rid of it. Whatever it is, I thought I owned it, another copy of it, but I can't find it. So whatever. Let's go ahead and show it off. So we got the Frozen Disney 100 Blu-ray right here. So we've got Elsa there in the front, and the version underneath. That's what it looks like. It's still sealed. I'm positive that the version that I owned before now, when it first came out, was this with a slipcover. I'm almost positive, but I looked all over and I couldn't find it, so I guess I got rid of it when I upgraded to 4K. This is a gorgeous 4K steelbook that was exclusive to Best Buy. This is what it looks like. I keep it in this nice protective, protector. I keep all my steelbooks in these protectors. This is my favorite poster art from the film. It's just this evocative painting of Elsa using her magic over Arendelle in the middle of the night. This is one of the most beautiful Disney arts I've ever seen. So when I saw that it got a steelbook release, I had to get it, even if it wasn't 4K. It's just to my great benefit that it was 4K. So this was my first way of owning the film in 4K. I also own the film in 3D. It only got a 3D release in Europe for some reason. It's interesting that Wreck-It Ralph and Zootopia got 3D releases here in the US, but for Frozen, if you wanted to own it in 3D, you had to import it. Thankfully, 3D Blu-rays are all region-free. Well, not all of them, but all the Disney ones are anyway. So even though this is a UK disc, this can play in a North American 3D player, and that's my preferred way of watching it. And I also own this. This is pretty interesting. This is a sing-along edition of Frozen on DVD. So it comes with all the lyrics popping up on screen. and you sing along with it with a snowflake guiding you along. So yeah, it's pretty cool. They do release sing-along editions of other films from time to time. I think they did one of Moana and Encanto, for example. I don't know if Encanto got a physical release. I think Moana did. In any case, this is the only one I've ever gone out of my way to get. Like I said, when this released, this was my favorite film ever. I wanted to own the film on sing-along, and guys, man, I just love this film. I still love this film. And the film also got a 4K Steelbook release through Disney 100. So, again, this was exclusive to Best Buy, and this is what it looked like. And this one is still sealed as well. I just haven't had a reason to open it, because if I want to watch it on 4K, I have a 4K. Yeah. So that is my humble little Frozen collection. Minus one that I just can't find. My guess is either I gave it to somebody else because I didn't need it anymore, or I sold it when I upgraded to the 4K. Maybe I'll go out of my way to get it again, just because I know for a fact that was my first Blu-ray of Frozen. In fact, that was my very first Blu-ray I ever bought when it came out. I got that Blu-ray of Frozen before I had an HD TV or a Blu-ray player to actually play it on. That is how early that release was. Hey, it's me from the future. I've come downstairs to start putting the stuff away, and I decided to take one last look at my shelf just to see if I could find it, and lo and behold, here it is. Now, to be clear, it was not right there. It was not where it was supposed to be. I did have to hunt for a long time to find it, but here it is, my very first Blu-ray of Frozen, and my very first Blu-ray ever. Yay! Okay, back to the video. Anyway, moving on to Big Hero 6, their next film. So we got just the standard Blu-ray release here. Not much to really talk about. It's just the film. But then we also, of course, have the 4K. And man, this film looks so good. It looks good. It's a fun film, superhero film. I said this in my Disney Animation 4K video. Big Hero 6 starts out as a by-the-numbers Disney film, or just a by-the-numbers superhero film, but by the end it turns into its own special, unique thing, and it just turns into a masterpiece by the time it's all over. Just tremendous, tremendous film. The next film is Zootopia. I don't know if you noticed, but I kind of like Zootopia. If I were to go through every single release of Zootopia that I have, we would be here for at least another hour, because I own 114 copies of Zootopia on home video. And that doesn't even include some of my more unique things, like the Zootopia on VHS that I own. So, to save everyone's sanity, I'm just going to show off some of my highlights. If you are interested in seeing every single copy that I have, check out my Zootopia home video YouTube channel, or my video that I made late last year of showing off when I only had 100 copies. I now have 14 more. Anyway, so let's go ahead. I have the film on DVD, and this is what the DVD looks like. I'll just go ahead and keep using this camera, actually. So then I also own the original Blu-ray release of the film. This was my very first way that I owned the film. This might even be my very first copy of the film. I think this is in that slot on the shelf where I keep that. Then we own the Disney 100 version of the film. So, yay, and that's what the copy looks like underneath. And they just put Nick on the front. I'm kind of surprised they didn't put Nick and Judy, or Judy, just Nick. Then we also own the film on 4K Steelbook. I own the film on so many other ways too, but this is just what I'm showing off. So this is the 4K Steelbook exclusive to Best Buy. This one is still sealed. It is not cheap. And then the final Walmart Holiday 2016 gold slipcover that I'm going to show off today, and it is, yeah, it's Zootopia. So the 3 animated films that that Walmart released as part of this collection were Snow White, Beauty and the Beast, and Zootopia. Those were the 3 releases that got a Blu-ray release in 2016, so those are the 3 that got this gold treatment. There were a few other films that weren't part of it as well. There were 11 films total. The others were Marvel films or live-action Disney films. These were the 3 that were part of Disney Animation. Again, I have a lot of other Zootopia releases, but for the sake of this video, I am not showing them off. Anyway, next up is Moana. I think people consider this the final film of the revival. Maybe. It depends on who you ask. In any case, this is the last one that everyone universally agrees was a masterpiece. So we have the original Blu-ray release here. I did not pick this up right when it first released. I remember getting this at Best Buy a year or two later during Black Friday. I think it cost me all of $5. Very good film, though. I remember seeing this in theaters and loving it a lot. You know, great classic Disney princess movie. The live-action remake is coming out next month, isn't it? I also own Moana on 3D Blu-ray. So here it is. I do not own a lenticular slipcover for this. This was just way cheaper to get without one, but it's all there, and it does have a 3D copy of the film right there. So anytime I want to watch this in 3D, I can. And of course, I own the film on 4K, and my only 4K copy is the Disney 100 Steelbook from Best Buy. I have thought every once in a while of getting the slipcover edition so that they match on my shelf, but there's really no need. If I ever want to watch the film in a 4K, I can. And this one is actually opened up. That's how you know that I watch it. So, after Moana was Disney's second ever sequel. And the first sequel that they ever made with the same team that made the first, Ralph Breaks the Internet, and the only copy I have of that is the 4K. This was the cheapest 4K I've ever bought. I think it cost me $5. It's not that retailers are desperate to get rid of it. It's just that they still have copies after the 4K first released like almost a decade ago now. So, you know, if you want it for $5, it's yours. And for the record, I thought that this film was pretty funny. The Disney princess scene especially was like, that alone made the film worth watching for me. Then their biggie, their really big one, Frozen 2. So, I got a confession, guys. I have not watched this since I saw it in theaters. I really need to give it another chance. But let's just say Frozen for the longest time was one of my favorite films of all time. And Frozen 2 was not. So I do own the Disney 100 release of this film. This is actually the most recent Disney 100 release that I picked up. This and The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is not a Disney animation film, so it's not here. But yeah, so that's what the case looks like underneath. And the cover, I do love the cover. I do love the art of this film. You know, Anna in this beautiful traveling outfit. So yeah, I mean, that looks nice. I also own the film on 3D Blu-ray, and you're probably thinking, wait, didn't you just say that you haven't seen this film since it was in theaters? Yeah, I bought this and I haven't even looked at it yet. But yeah, this is another import from the UK. I'm very surprised that for both Frozen films, if you want to own the 3D Blu-ray, you have to import from Europe. The three most successful Disney animation films ever, and did I say it's three? The two most successful Disney animation films ever, and if you want to own the 3D, you can't even buy it in the US. That's kind of interesting to me. And then my favorite release of Frozen 2, the 4K Steelbook from Best Buy. Just look at that art. This is quite possibly my favorite Steelbook design ever. It just looks amazing. I can't get over it. Every time I look at it, I get drawn into it. So it just looks so good. Okay, we're down to our final pile. Now begins the Disney Plus era of films. I don't know what these are called. I think that they're just called, you know, I think they're called the Disney Plus era because Disney Plus released when the very first film came out, and it's been the dominant way people watch films ever since. Anyway, we got Raya and the Last Dragon, and I'm pretty sure for every single one of these I only have one or two releases with the last one, and you'll see why in a second. So I actually really liked this film. I went out of my way to see this in theaters when it first released. It was not easy to find an open theater that was showing this because this was right in the middle of the pandemic in early 2021. But I went out of my way to buy a ticket and see it in a theater the way it was meant to be seen. I like this film. This is a fun film. Next up is Encanto. A tremendous film that this is where people consider to be the end of the revival in general. So a tremendous film, a great musical. I'm glad that it, even if it didn't do good in theaters, even though I saw it in theaters, I'm glad that it got a second life on Disney Plus and people have fallen in love with it. I'm glad that this film did get the audience that I thought it deserved. And I also own the Disney 100 Steelbook of Encanto as well. Exclusive to, excuse me, exclusive to Best Buy. I had to buy this one secondhand, so it was opened up, but I usually keep it like this because it's the exact same discs as the standard 4K, so if I want to watch it, I'll just watch the slipcover version. Next up is my least favorite Disney animation film, Strange World. This is the one film in all of this that I have watched and I did not feel that classic Disney magic. This is the 4K from Best Buy, and as you can see, it's still shrink wrapped because I haven't opened it, because I haven't had a reason to, because I'm not going to watch this unless it's part of a Disney marathon. It's not that it's bad. It's not a bad film. Objectively speaking, there are worse films in this pile than Strange World, but it is boring. I did not like it. There was one moment in the entire film that I watched and I was actually entertained by. It was where everyone was locked in a closet and the three-legged dog comes up and they're trying to coach it to come in and save them. And then the blob gets impatient. It slides under the door, opens the door, waves its arms like, see, that's how you open the door. Then it closes the door and slides back underneath so that the dog can rescue them. That was funny. I actually was really entertained by that. And I hope that proves that I've actually seen the film and I'm not talking out of my rear. Anyway, a film that I did like was Wish, and this is the 4K Steelbook exclusive to Walmart. This is when Best Buy stopped releasing home video of any kind. So, yeah, I actually did enjoy Wish. We rewatched it fairly recently to make sure, wait, do I really enjoy it or am I just thinking that I do? And you know what? I do. Is it perfect? No, but it was better than Strange World. I loved Magnifico. I loved his song. The art style, I think, is actually really good. I know most people disagree with me on that, but I'll stand by that. I like what I like. So I liked Wish. I thought it was a really good, well, I don't know if I should say really good. I thought it was a fair honor to Disney's 100 years. So anyway, now we're into the last two films, the two back-to-back sequels. So first we have Moana 2 in this 4K Steelbook. So I saw this and yeah, you can tell it was a TV show that they just stitched together to make into a film at the last minute. But you know what? It's still fun. It's a fun story. It's really, really cool. And if it were ever on TV, I would probably watch it. And finally, we come to my new favorite movie of all time, Zootopia 2. I own 10 copies of Zootopia 2, so I'll spare you. Let me go ahead and just show off some of the highlights. So first off, we've got the DVD here. This is what the DVD looks like. A lot of these I actually went straight to the store and bought on release day just to make sure. And then I also have this 2-movie pack of Zootopia and Zootopia 2 in a single DVD release. And thank God that comes on a spindle to separate them instead of just stacking the discs, because that creates scratches. Also have Zootopia 2 on Blu-ray. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be jealous of this. I do, in fact, own the 4K Steelbook of the film. This was not easy to get. Thankfully, it's a lot easier now. I really hope that everyone who wants one has gotten one by now for retail price, but golly, Sony screwed up by not printing anywhere close to enough of these. It's Disney Animation's most successful film of all time, and Sony said, one printing. That ought to do. And even worse, if you want to own the 4K of this, you've got two options. One is this Steelbook from North America, and two is the Movie Next 4K from Japan, which costs just as much. So if you're in Europe, good grief. Anyway, how long have I been recording? An hour and a half? That brings this video to an end. I've shown off every single piece of Disney animation home video in my possession. Wow. We've gone through a lot. We've gone through VHS tapes, we've gone through DVDs, Blu-rays, Laserdiscs, 4Ks, 3D Blu-rays, and a CED. And as I said earlier, this video will be outdated in just a few months as I add more and more to my collection. There's still some VHS tapes that I'm missing. There's plenty of Disney 100 releases that I'm missing. And of course, with Hexed coming out in November, that means early next year, I'm going to need to buy that as well and add that to my collection. This is one of my favorite hobbies, just adding more and more Disney movies to my shelves so that I can watch them all whenever I want. I love Disney, I love their films, I love their animation, and I'm glad that you all decided to share this journey with me. And now the journey is over, and I'm sure you all don't care anymore. So thanks for watching. See you next time. Stay tuned for more. And now I've got to clean this all up.